Hello everyone, my name is Cortex, and today I've got the first video of many in my new series, which will be based on KvK maps. So we're gonna go over every single different KvK variation in Seasonal Conquest, and sort of rank them based on a few different things, which is gonna be fighting opportunities, map futures, and the cons of the KvK. So fighting opportunities is basically how many fights you can get, how often the fights are going to be, and how the zones are set up. The map futures are features specific to the map, such as Stratagems, Holmgang, and those types of features. The cons are going to be negative features of the map, which is going to lower the overall score. And at the end of each video of the KvK guides, we're going to give the KvK an overall score. And by the end of this series, we should have a solid ranking of every single KvK map. So that's basically how this series is going to work. And with the first episode, we got the King of All Britain KvK, which is the newest KvK added to the game, and the KvK I recently played myself with our allies in 2934 and 2377. And we're fighting against 1718, 3310, and 1365. We had quite a fun KvK. It was quite short compared to what we would like to have, but it was okay. And I learned quite a lot about the map during that KvK. So yeah, let's go over it. First of all, when you are in pre-KvK for this KvK, you've got an option to select your map location, which is new. We've never seen that before. Usually pre-KvK only gives you a buff, but this time it gives you a buff and you get to choose your map location. So the rank 1 pre-KvK gets to pick first, then rank 2, then rank 3, and then rank 4 is placed whichever spot has not been picked yet. So the different locations give different buffs. So this location here, which is Northumbria, gives you 3% infantry march speed and 3% all damage, which is the most powerful buff. So rank 1 usually will end up picking this. Now the second most powerful buff is over here in Wessex. If you're in Wessex, you'll get 3% archer movement speed and 3% field all damage. So your field troops are going to do 3% more damage. Now Mercia is over here on the left, and if you're in Mercia, you get 3% archer march speed and 3% garrison damage taken reduction. So your garrisons take 3% less damage and you get 3% archer movement speed. And if you're over here in East Anglia, which is usually where you end up if you're lost in pre-KvK, this is where we ended up, you get 3% infantry march speed and 3% rally damage. Now, it's not all bad being here, especially if, let's say, you're fighting the kingdom in Northumbria here. You have a very, very good defensive fort line position right here, as well as you can keep backforting all the way back here, right? So it's not all bad. This zone has really a lot of easy defensive positions, which is quite easy to hold if you really want to, if you're over here in East Anglia and you're fighting against the kingdom in Northumbria. Anyway, with that out of the way, the next feature that we have in this KvK, it's the Ragnar Artifact, which is called the Megingjord, I believe is how you pronounce it. And it makes it so that Ragnar Prime, and all his skills get applied to every single unit type, and not only infantry. So if you equip the artifact on Ragnar, and this is something you get for free from a chronicle in the KvK, you can use Ragnar with any troop type. On top of the other artifact you can unlock in the KvK from the Stratagems. So it's quite powerful for Ragnar. You can use him with Quo, you can use him wherever. Quo was a popular option in our KvK, but obviously now there are new commanders, so that might change. You can use it anywhere as well. It works in Canyon, all the different Canyon modes, even in Holmgang and those types of activities. Okay, so next up we got Stratagems. Now, in the Stratagems there's quite a lot to go through, and I'll give you sort of an idea of what I think are the strongest stratagems, and what stratagems you should use for different situations. Now, you need stratagem points to buy these stratagems. And in order to obtain these stratagem points, you have a couple options, which we'll go into soon. And if you want to know the specific of these stratagems, you can go look if you're in this KvK or go find them somewhere. I'm trying to make my videos as short and informative as I can. So I'm not going to personally go through every single stratagem. This is not a stratagem tier list video, but I'll go over what I think is the meta for each different use. So for rallying, you want Martial Talent, Counteroffensive, right back at you, Berserker Blood, Hymn of Heroes, and you can take Breakneck if you want to for the move speed. And now, this is very important when it comes to rallying, which I'll mention quickly. If you're rally buffing, so let's say you're rallying a pass, or you're rallying a fort where you can buff your own rally with buffing commanders, you want Rousing Drums and Rhythm of War on your stratagem list. What this does is it gives you a, well, whenever you buff your troop, it makes it take less all damage, which is very, very powerful. And this works on rallies. So rally buffing in this KvK format is extremely powerful with those stratagems. So make sure you use those if you're buffing your rally and you're a rally lead. Okay. Now for garrison stratagems, you want to run Martial Talent, Counter Offensive, Right Back at You, Hymn of Heroes, and Berserker Blood. It's pretty straightforward. Not most of the stratagems, sorry, don't work in garrison, and the same goes for rallying. So you kind of have limited options when it comes to rallying and garrisoning with stratagems. Now for the field, you have a lot of options, and you can kind of figure out whichever you want to run to suit your playstyle the best. I don't think there's one correct answer for everyone here. But I think some good options are Martial Talent, Rousing Drums, Rhythm of War, Blood Tempered, Till I Fall, Breakneck, Hymn of Heroes, if you have enough dead troops for Hymn of Heroes. Hymn of Heroes gives you all damage bonus based on the amount of deads you have in the KvK, so yeah, this might be better later on in the KvK when you have accumulated enough deads to use this. And also, Do or Die if you can afford the troops. Do or Die gives you a 10% damage bonus in trade for a certain amount of your troops dying in the field. So this is kind of an expensive one, but if you have the troops to spare, I think it is worth it. And the more people in your kingdom that run it, the better it's gonna be for your overall murder ball performance as a kingdom. And for farms, it's pretty straightforward. The most important one you want is 1 Heart, 1 Mind, which is gonna give you more all damage in the rallies and garrisons that the farms join. Other than that, you can grab Kind-Hearted, Know When to Fold, and Logistics Whiz if you want to. These are optional. But make sure you get 1 Heart, 1 Mind on your farms. Now, when it comes to Holmgang, which is one of the ways to earn the stratagem points. In the Holmgang, it's a Canyon-like event, if you haven't seen it before, where you team up with 2 other people, so it's a team of 3, you have 1 team captain, and you fight other teams. Now, this is the English versus the Vikings, so even if you're, let's say, allied with a Viking camp and you're English, you're kind of fighting against your own allies in this Holmgang event to win, which is kind of strange, but that's how it works. And the Holmgang event is 6 rounds, 1 round every 7 days. So 6 rounds throughout the entire KvK, 1 round every 7 days. Each round lasts for 5 days. So you have a 1-day break after each round and 1-day team up phase after each round. The team size is 3, like I mentioned. You have 1 captain, you have 3 groups of 3 teams that you fight every day. And you have 5 refreshes per day. So let's say you fight 1 team in your group, then you can use a refresh to refresh the other 2. Or if you have 1 team left to fight and you don't want to fight that team, you can use the refresh to refresh that team. Basically, in total, you have 9 fights per day. Depending on, well, you have 9 fights either way, is what I'm trying to say. But you can use refreshes in your groups to avoid certain teams that you don't want to fight. Now, Crystal Tech plays into effect in this mode as well. So your troop capacity from your Crystal Tech will make it so that you have more troops in Holmgang, which is going to be very crucial for your performance as a team. If your whole team has troop capacity tech and other teams don't, you're likely going to win. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Holmgang. You get stratagem points from it daily and after each round, depending on your rank. And also the winning side, so if you're on the Viking side and the Vikings have more teams in the top 15 than the English, then, well, whichever side is the winning side gets 3% march speed over the next week, and you also get a title above your city depending on what side you're on, if you're on a team in the top 15. So yeah, that's Holmgang. I hope I explained it quite well. I'm trying to not make this video too long, so yeah, that's Holmgang. Now, for Buhrs is another way to obtain the stratagem points. Buhrs are structures on the map, which you can find in almost every zone. And the Buhrs are structures that you can attack, kind of similar to barb keeps, if you know what those are, in the home kingdom, where you can attack them and then you get loot at the end, basically. So you raid the Buhrs, they open for 8 hours every 64 hours. You can loot 2 Buhrs, that's your sort of limit until you go on cooldown. And you get 150 stratagem points from each Buhr you raid. So make sure you always raid Buhrs when you can, if you have the territory to do so, in the first and second zones. It's very important to get your stratagem points to be able to get all your stratagems. So for the ranking of the KvK, I would say that for the fighting opportunities, it's not too great. It's an HJ style map. So you go sort of from your pass 4s, you have a fight there if you're adjacent to an enemy. And if you don't even have a fight there. And then you have the altars, which I think is typically pretty lame. You maybe have a fight the first 1 or 2 times it opens, and then it sort of like turns... Whoever ends up winning those usually get it for free after that. And then you have the Pass 7s, which are already forted up and defended, and you can't do anything there before Kingsland opens. And then Kingsland finally opens, but the thing is that the Kingsland is very small and usually doesn't last very long, as you could see in our KvK with 365 and 2377, and as you can also see in the 960 2489 KvK. So for the fighting opportunities, I'm going to give it a score of 5. Middle of the pack, it's okay, but it's quite low when it comes to your fighting opportunities. And it could definitely be a lot better in that department. Keep in mind, all these scores are my personal opinion, so maybe for other people this is going to be different, but this is my personal opinion. Now for the map features, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So I think, yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, it has a ton of map features. You have the Ragnar Artifact, you have the Stratagems, you have Holmgang, you have a bunch of map features, the Buhrs that you can raid. So yeah, for map features, it's great. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for map features. So the cons of this KvK is that it has a very small Kingsland, it has limited fighting zones like most Hey J style maps, and it also has quite a lot of easy defensive holds to take. So because of these reasons, I'm going to remove 3 points from the overall score, which leaves the final score for King of All Britain at a 10 out of 20 possible points. So, I mean, right now it's going to take the lead, because this is the first map we're covering. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed something. And let me know which KvK map you'd like to see next, and if you enjoy this type of content, if you think I should continue with this series, or if I should not. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a like on the video, and joining my Discord. And I'll see you all next time. Take care everyone, and have fun in King of All Britain. Bye bye.